Good morning, it's Rob shooting from Brisbane, Australia, and day 29 in the 30-day free traffic boot camp. And the content, my thoughts on this, what I'm sharing is from day number 13 in the 15-day Business Builder Challenge, the video there. And it's about using OPM, other people's money, to build our business. And when I first saw this, my mind immediately went to that classic movie with Danny DeVito and Gregory Peck called Other People's Money. And Danny played as Larry the Liquidator, and yeah, he would use other people's money as leverage. And if you may have seen the movie, if you haven't, it's a really good laugh, and quite touching as well. But he would use other people's money, borrowed money to buy companies, and then essentially wreck them, like you do a car, and take the components and sell them off and make a profit that way. And I mean, there's been a lot of that, and still does go on, where companies are disassembled and their individual components are sold off, and the sum total of the whole amount is more than what the company was valued at. But anyway, Larry fell in love, and he grew an integrity bone and a decency bone, and it ended up being a really really nice ending. But back to other people's money. Why would you let's say you're considering starting an online business, and why would you consider using OPM? And you may have a certain amount of cash of your own, which may or may not be sufficient to fund your enterprise, or you may like to leave that in reserve. There'll be reasons why we need to or why we would choose to borrow, and one of them is if we don't have sufficient cash. But we want to get started in the business, then we can either sell things off, things we're not using. We can change our habits somewhat, and rather than eating out 3 times a month, we only eat out once or something like that. Or we can borrow, and there's various ways we can do that. Now, I'll just touch on some of the most obvious ones. But at the end of this, I'm going to put a link in about hidden money and where to find it. And it's a free bonus. Just click the link and it'll take you to 30 tips, 30 potential sources of hidden money that we all have or we can access, and which will help us towards funding our business. So the first one is back to the 3. I'm just going to touch on this video is our credit card. We can either increase the limit or possibly take out another one. We can take out a personal loan with a bank, and providing the numbers stack up, banks will lend for a business venture. The other possibility is to ask a friend or family, and an example that comes in mind is a friend of mine, and she was and this is going back quite a few years now, and she was totally broke. She'd had a failed MLM business, well, not failed, but she just wasn't making any money with it, not enough to to keep things going, and it was basically costing her more than what she was making profit. But she saw this other business opportunity, and got started, and had the same sort of trepidations we all have. I mean, scary stuff, because to put your future on the line in some cases, it takes an act of faith, and it takes vision. But back to the story, she borrowed the money. A friend offered to lend her the money, which was, I think, a couple of $1,000, which is a considerable amount of money back then. And anyway, she went on to I think within 18 months make her first million. May have even been less than that, but very successful. And there are people, friends see that we're serious, we have a passion for what we're doing, and we want to move our life forward, friends and family will quite often say, look, can I give you a hand? And so that's another source. But back to the, I guess, and I won't go any further on any of that. It's more about why we want to build a business, and it's, to me, it's creating our future lifestyle, and it doesn't happen like that. I mean, people think it happens overnight, that bang, I do this and the money's going to start flowing in. Well, from what I've seen, and I know quite a few people in the online business. Rarely do they go from zero to $10,000 a month, but it takes time to build those things up. So it's important that we have that vision for our future, and I mean, we're looking at making a commitment for 2 or 3 years, as we reinvest the profits we make back into our business, rather than go and buying new cars and that type of thing, and a fancy apartment or whatever it may be, or a yacht. It's important that we keep on reinvesting into our business and ourselves. And these are the two things, invest into our own personal growth, our personal development, because what happens in here determines what happens out there. So it's important that we keep our vision alive and focused on that, and keep on working towards that as much as we can, when we can, taking steps every day, and part of that is being resourceful, finding ways to fund that and fund advertising and those things that we need to do. And with that, I'm going to sign off, and as I mentioned earlier, look below. There's a link to the 30 hidden places where you can access money. There may be things you haven't even thought of. So if that helps at all, and you're in that space of considering starting your online business, yes, I do understand it can be quite confronting, but I hope this does provide some value, and that the checklist will also give you some ideas and some thoughts to move forward with. So with that, thank you very much, and I'll just say Uru for now. Bye.